Hi friends, welcome you all to Deep Matrix. In this video, we'll be looking into how to deploy the MLflow server into Minikube. So this is not a introduction video to MLflow or Minikube. So those who are not known of what MLflow and what Minikube is, you can always go to Deep Matrix and you can check out my videos. So here is a video for Minikube basics where I explained the crux of what Minikube is and what is the use of it. And after that, there is this my MLOps series where I have talked about what MLflow is like, how it can be utilized as a model tracking registry and other stuffs. So let's get into the video first. So in this video, like two things we are going to do. We are just going to define the deployment files, which are mostly in YAML, and after that, like we will have a Docker file, and after that, like we will try to run those files with a kubectl command into Minikube, so that like we would end up seeing a UI something like this for MLflow, and we are going to run it in local so that like the output or the endpoint would be in localhost. Okay, so let's get into the video first. Let me open a command prompt. The first thing, we have to start the Minikube. So command is minikube start. So once we start the Minikube in Docker desktop, we can see in containers section, we see a Minikube is running, and here we can see what is the CPU utilization of it. So first thing, and after that, so once the Minikube is started, next thing we have to kickstart Minikube dashboard. Let's wait for the execution to complete. So yeah, it's done. So now we have to start the Minikube desktop, or sorry, Minikube dashboard. BOARD. Yeah. So here is our Minikube dashboard up and running. So I already have a deployment. So let me delete it so that like we can create a new one. So service, yeah, I can delete. So this is a default UI support that we get from Minikube, so that like we can monitor, all the deployment pod jobs, even the service ingress, A to Z about Kubernetes. So let's look into the file system. So three files we are going to deal with in this video. So first thing is Docker file. So in order to deploy MLflow, we need to build an image for MLflow first. So that will be taken care by Docker file. So Docker file is basically a blueprint of the image, which tells what is the OS that we are going to use and what is the requirements that we want and what is the endpoint and what is the command we are going to run at the end. So in this case, I'm going to use Python and I'm going to install MLflow into Python. Then I want to run my server at 5000 port. So that's why I expose 5000. And finally, my command is MLflow server, which runs my UI of MLflow. So this is a Docker file. And the other steps are, common. Like we have to build the Docker image using Docker build. Then we have to push it to Docker Hub using Docker push. But in this video, let's not do that, because like in this article which I referred, like the guy who wrote it, like he already provided his image which is in public. So instead of we waste our time, we'll directly utilize that. So dk hutley /mlflow hyphen server. So let's go to deployment.yaml. So deployment.yaml is basically where we are going to wrap up our image. So like this is the overall architecture. So MLflow will be created as a deployment. Then we will expose a service. So ingress is something that we are not going to do. So from the service, we'll try to access the web browser. Like these are the three steps that we are going to do. So let's see the first step, deployment.yaml. So like my kind is deployment. And after that, I have set the name to my deployment as MLflow hyphen deployment, and I wanted to create two replicas for it. And after that, like under container section, I'm going to refer the same image that we seen in the article. Then under arguments, I'm going to give the host name and port as 5000. So whatever the port I have set here should be the same container port, so that like the deployment will be easily, forwarded to that port. And protocol is TCP. So this is about deployment.yaml, very simple. And after that, service.yaml. So now once the deployment is ready, we have to connect a service to it. So that is where this service.yaml plays a role. So here is my target port and port, which should be 5000 in both the case. And after that, my protocol is again TCP, because my deployment protocol is also TCP. So my service name is MLflow service. Now I have to map this service to the deployment that I am going to create. So this name, whatever the name that comes in metadata, should be given under selector in service. Okay. At last, the type of the service I'm going to set it as load balancer. I'll tell you the reason why. So first, let's apply these changes to the Kubernetes. So let me go to dashboard. So now Kubernetes dashboard is empty. So we'll create one more command prompt. So cd MLflow tracker cdk8s. So here are my YAML files. So the command is simple: kubectl apply -f is deployment.yaml -f service.yaml. So now a deployment is created, a service is created. Let's take a look. So on the workload, you can see a deployment like is in pending state. The reason is like I have two pods. I have declared two pods. So yeah, now all the pods are running. So you can see a deployment, a one deployment is created, and this is the image I'm using. This deployment has two pods. Like the reason why it created two pods is replica is set to be three. It's sorry, two. If it is three, then three pods will be created. So yeah. And after that, like this replicas will be managed by replica set. So it's like two of two. So now let's go to service. So MLflow service. So MLflow service is created, but you can see a status is in pending state, not in succeeded. The reason is like the type that we set is load balancer. So usually the service should have cluster IP. But the reason why we went for load balancer is Minikube has this issue where we cannot expose a local host in Minikube. So in order to do that, now I have set it to load balancer. Now one more command we need to run. By that end, like we would start seeing an external endpoint. So now there is no endpoint. Let me go and run Minikube tunnel. So we have to start this tunneling. So once we start the tunneling, now if I go to my service, you can see it is in succeeded state and there is an external endpoint created. So if I click on it, you can see my MLflow server is running. So if we go to this article, like this is the same output that we wanted. Now you can refer this URL and localhost into your MLflow Python SDK, so that any model that you register or want to track will be tracked here. So like this is the basic crux of, to deploy any server on Kubernetes or Minikube. Not just MLflow, you can also deploy other servers such as Evidently, and there are few other servers like Locust and all those things, which we will see in our future videos. Um, I hope you all like it, uh, and also do comment about our videos so that we can make our videos with good quality, and also comment like what are the topics that you want me to do, so that I'm willing to do that. So see you in the next one. Until then, enjoy learning. Thank you.